Hey guys, how you going? So the 2023 Frasier revival has come to an end in terms of season 1. In this video, I'm going to do a quick little recap on episode 9, episode 10, and give my final thoughts. You probably noticed I didn't put my episode 9 review up last week. I wanted to put 9 and 10 together and do a sign off with my final thoughts on season 1. As far as I know, it has been renewed for season 2, which I am definitely intrigued to see where they take it, whether or not some reoccurring characters come back, whether or not some familiar faces come back from the original series. But in terms of episode 9, it was a bit of a filler episode, but at the same time, it had a lot of heart. I love the notion of Freddy feeling a bit useless whilst living with his dad, but it's also impacting his dating life. We see Frasier being mentally ill, which kind of softens the blow of why Freddy lives with him. But at the same time, there's a lot of exposition about Freddy growing up without Frasier not being a big part of his life, and Lilith taking the reins of being a parent and pretty much a full-time parent. Freddy trying to be independent and also look after his dad because his dad is smothering him at this point. And then that also leads into episode 10, which is the final episode in season 1, which I think doesn't go out with a bang, but at the same time, it did a damn good job. And we also have a beautiful cameo of Perry Gilpin returning as Roz, but I'll touch on that in a bit. Essentially, it's Christmas Eve. Frasier wants to host a party, and we know how things go when Frasier, Niles host a party, especially in the original seasons of Frasier. It always goes belly up and hijinks ensue. But Frasier wants to put on a grandiose party in the apartment, inviting some of the Harvard people, some other work colleagues. And this is also the first Christmas Eve has without her partner who has passed away, who is also Freddy's best friend in the fire department, and also Frasier's first Christmas without Martin. So you have two people grieving, and then Freddy grieving over two people at the same time. His best friend, his work colleague, and also his grandpa. But at the same time, Freddy keeps busy by taking care of people. Eve has stayed in her apartment across the hall, doesn't want to come to the party, doesn't want to be a party pooper. So Freddy is going back and forth from his party to Eve's apartment, making sure she's okay. And eventually the party gets wind that there's a bigger party happening in Eve's apartment. They all go over there. We see Frasier has also ordered 24 Christmas trees as opposed to 24 chairs and 1 Christmas tree. I think that was a fuck up from David. Speaking of David, there is a little side quest with David and Alan going around the room, making conversation, trying to name all of Santa's reindeers and inject it into a conversation. It happened. It was okay. It was funny. And again, I think it's just the impeccable comedic timing of Nicholas Lyndhurst. Like, he has definitely been a standout in this series, right next to Kelsey Grammer. Frasier realizes what's happened, where the party has moved from his apartment to Eve's apartment, once again failing at hosting a damn good party. He then throws himself a pity party in his apartment by himself before there's a knock at the door, and it's Roz Doyle. And I'm not gonna lie, my face lit up when I saw Perry Gilpin's warm smile. She hugs Frasier, and the first opening line from her is, "You look like crap." And I'm like, that is classic Roz. It was so good to see them again, even though her cameo was injected towards the third act of this episode. I would have loved to have seen her introduced at the very beginning. Have some more dialogue with her and Frasier. There's also a mention of Alice, Roz's daughter, which is cool. Roz goes on to say that she's been dating the same guy for 4 years, and essentially she could have dated so many guys within that 4 years if that were her. Frasier goes on to say, "You've raised an underachiever," and it was just good to see that banter once again. I also love that Frasier's kept some of Martin's awful Christmas decorations, the dancing Santa, the tacky looking reindeer Christmas wreath, and it's really cool. There was a nice little moment before Roz makes her appearance of Frasier just having a moment of solitude, just grieving for his dad. The episode ends on a high note with everyone coming back into Frasier's apartment and having a nice Christmas dinner with Roz in company, which is just great. In terms of my final thoughts on the whole season, I definitely wanted it to be like the original series, and it was never going to be like the original series. And I know that's probably rubbed people the wrong way, that I've been comparing the Frasier revival to the original series and how good the original series was, but you gotta admit, they had lightning in a bottle. Even though the quality dipped a little towards the final seasons, this was never gonna be like the original series. And I think why I hold on to the original series so much, and I've mentioned it briefly, my dad and I bonded as father and son over the original series, especially when I was in high school and I was a broody, moody teen. Now I'm just a moody, broody artist. But it really brought us together. We laughed together. We cried together when there were emotionally deep episodes of the original series. And my dad's getting on. My dad has a few health issues now, and I think that's why I was just trying to recapture that comfort, that safeness that the original series had/has for me, because I still watch it to this very day. I usually go back between the original Frasier series and Home Improvement. It's what's familiar to me, it's what's comfortable to me, and I guess I was a little bit let down that it wasn't like that, but it was never going to be like that. We're in an age now where humor has shifted vastly, especially when it comes to sitcoms. There's obviously a lot of How I Met Your Mother, Disney Channel humor injected into the new Frasier season, but at the same time, it's goofy, it's harmless, and it's a good way to switch off. And at the same time, I can see what they were trying to do with the writing, trying to recapture what was old, but also inject what's new now and the new characters. And again, the highlights for me obviously were Kelsey Grammer and Nicholas Lyndhurst, and I love that Freddie and Frasier's relationship has finally come full circle. It's the polar opposite to what we saw in episode 1 of this season, where they were essentially strangers at this point. And like I mentioned, season 2 has pretty much been confirmed, and of course I'm going to watch it. I want to see where this goes. I want to see where these characters go. Hopefully, David Hyde Pierce does come back just for a cameo. And in episode 10, we see Frasier on the phone to Niles wishing him a Merry Christmas. And I just thought, come on, man, have David Hyde Pierce come through that door alongside Roz. Him and Roz giving each other shit, and then Roz gives Frasier shit, and then Niles and Frasier just embrace themselves. Maybe we'll see for season 2. So yeah, guys, in the end, Frasier season 1 is definitely harmless fun. It's never going to live up to the standards of the original season. There definitely is fun to be had in it. The quirky humor sometimes falls a bit flat, but at the same time, you have a new cast of characters, which I think can grow and evolve if more seasons come of this. There were times where I loved it, hated it, so with that, I'm going to be giving Frasier season 1 for 2023, the Frasier revival, 2.5 Faith beers out of 5. And if you don't get that reference, that is Kelsey Grammer's beer. He brews his own beer. It's called Faith. It was actually in episode 10 when Frasier and Freddie are having a beer. I only just saw that. That's pretty cool. Again, when season 2 rolls around, I'm going to be there day 1 of the premiere. I definitely want to see where this goes. It has potential, and the characters definitely have evolved by episode 10, especially when it comes to Frasier and Freddie's relationship. That is the priority, and I'm thoroughly impressed with how far they've come as characters and father and son compared to episode 1. With that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts down below, that season 1 of Frasier is all wrapped up, and your overall thoughts and what you'd like to see in season 2. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.